Take a moment to feel into zero again. Not a number. You don't combine it with the others, but it's always that beginning point, what humans often call the 0 point. That's where we're at. You've had all these experiences in this lifetime. You've run the gamut of this linear experience for many, many, many lifetimes, and now we're back at the 0 point. What does that mean? It means you've gone very deep within yourself. You've explored the core of really who you are. You've taken a very, very deep dive in this lifetime, in addition to having a lot of experiences, but you've gone very deep within. You've come back to this point, the 0 point. You're still carrying some vestiges of old wounds and old issues with you as we come back here. Those will dissolve away. Please, as I said earlier, don't work at them. Don't force them. Don't use techniques. Don't try to mantra them out of your life. Don't try to use healers. These will simply dissolve away. Even the most stuck issues. Some chambres still have issues with abundance. These will simply dissolve away. The moment you get in and start trying to figure it out, or you wrestle with them, or beat them, they're just going to persist. They're going to stick around. But if you just take a deep breath and you realize all these things now are just going to melt away. You're coming back to the 0 point. You're coming back to your own consciousness after journeying out into this universe and this cosmos of numbers, which really are just experiences. You're coming back to the 0 point. That's the park bench. That's the park bench. It's the 0 point that we come back to. Now you're here to do the real thing you came here to do. The important thing, once again, is don't engage with issues. And I know some of you are just, you get a little hot under the collar because, I don't know, perhaps you want to engage with them, you want to suffer, you can't believe it would be this easy. It is. The moment you engage with a physical issue, in other words, you're trying to figure it out, or you're obsessing on it, or you're trying to figure out some new alternative cure or something else, you're right back into it, and it's not going to dissolve away because this issue, just think of it as one of these numbers, says, you still want me around because you're engaging with me, so I'm going to stick around. If you realize you're coming back to the 0 point, it's you, it's consciousness that ultimately commands energy. If you realize that you've had a tremendous number of experiences, but now you're back home. And now it's simply about being on this park bench and shining your light. Back at the 0 point. Along the way, some chambre dropped out. Quite a few chambre dropped out. For a variety of reasons. Perhaps I offended them. I can't possibly imagine that, but perhaps I did. Perhaps I even tried to get rid of them because they were so ingrained with their issues. They were so adamant about holding on to them and blaming somebody else. They were tilting at their windmills. They were fighting ghosts that weren't there. They were obsessed with their own challenges. They hung on to whether it was a family situation or a relationship or their self-worth, whatever it happened to be. They really weren't ready to be here. And it was better for them not to be because it would have had an effect on everybody else. So many of you persisted. You made it this far. Now we're back at the 0 point. Take a deep breath, and if you have any remaining issues, self-worth issues, or any remaining doubts, take a deep breath and don't engage. Let them go. They're ready to go, really. They're ready to go. Don't engage. Just, and Calder's asking me, okay, is this being Is this being innocent in the face of great battles? Is it being stupid, I guess is what he's asking. Is it being naive to basically ignore the issues? Not at all. The energy dynamics are so simple. If you engage with an issue, and you know what that's like let's say it's an abundance thing, and you've gone for lifetimes, maybe decades with it. If you engage with it, it will continue to be there. If you realize that you're back at 0 point, you're back in your own consciousness, in your own home, in your own energy, these things will just go away without you having to focus on them, without you having to sprinkle fairy dust on them, without any sort of crystal healing or therapy, any of that. And then you're going to wonder why you didn't do this sooner, why I didn't tell you about it sooner. But we'll talk about that at a later point. But right now, take a deep breath and allow yourself to come back to 0 point. Yeah, you got all these numbers representing all of your experiences and all the things you've done, but you're back at 0 point, and it's not a number. In other words, it's not an experience, it's who you are. Feel into that for a moment. It took you a while to get back here. You had to get through that myriad of all these numbers out there, all the experiences and all the things that you've gone through. Every number out there could be a identity that you had in the past, or the past life, or various identities in this lifetime. You had all those characters, all those aspects out there, but somehow you made your way back to the 0 point. It's not another experience, it's not another character or aspect, it's who you are. You dove deep enough into it. You found your way here in spite of so many distractions. And now you're here. As I mentioned, some Shambhava dropped out along the way. They were too interested in causes and battles, and you've all seen it. And particularly in this coronavirus era, it's ripe for battles and controversies and conspiracies and righteousness and everything else. None of it really matters. None of it matters to you anyway. It's not your battle anymore. So many insist on these fights, and they simply don't have a place with where we're going right now. They may have a change of heart sometime in the future, but right now, it's this group, you, this really quite dedicated group of Shambhava around the world. So right now, take a deep breath and get comfortable on your own park bench. Whether you're sitting on one or not, whether you have one or not, but it's a metaphor. It's a metaphor for a 0 point, for coming back home to yourself. Surely with battle weary and perhaps a lot of stories, a lot of numbers flying around, but now it's time to come back. Come back to yourself, and for the real reason we're here. You're 0. You're 0, and that's a good thing. Anyway, your core, your center point is 0. That's a good thing, because now it doesn't have all the overlays of the past and old memories and old ghosts and everything else. You're back home to yourself. It's the I am, I exist. And now it's your park bench. Do you need a literal park bench? No, but it's not a bad idea to get one, just as a reminder, as a place to sit and a place to do what we're going to be doing. It's a good symbol, but no, you don't actually have to have one. You can call a chair your park bench, or you can call the toilet a park bench for all I care. It doesn't really matter, but just remember, you're 0 now. 0 is not just another number. 0 is you. It's consciousness. In this series, we're going to be doing active benching. I'll be getting into that, and again, not that it takes a lot of teaching or explanation. We're just going to be doing it. But today I wanted to start out, well, with the basics of the basics. Today I wanted to start with the park benching 101. So let's put on some music and let's start with our park benching right here.
Dê sua contribuição consciente. Se chegou até aqui, inscreva-se, dê seu like, compartilhe, comente e obrigado por nos assistir.